Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben Robitaille, your realtor with Royal LePage In Touch Realty in Midland, serving all of Simcoe County and parts of southern Muskoka. Back this month with your real estate market update for these areas for June 2023. Now, if the lateness with which this video is going out is any indication at all of what the market's doing, it is busy out there for buyers. What we're seeing right now is similar to what happened early on in the pandemic. Is we have a lot of buyer demand. So a lot of buyers are entering multiple offer situations, and there's still not a lot of inventory out there as sellers are hesitant to list their properties. Now, this is happening more aggressively in certain regions of Simcoe County versus others, but let's dive into the stats and we can look at what areas are doing what in Simcoe County. So, starting off with Midland. Last month, average sale price was $599,357. That dropped this month, going to $576,718. The number of sales stayed the same at 28. The percentage of original list price has dropped, going from 100% in April of this year down to 97% in May. Not a huge significant difference here. And the number of new listings shot up this month, going from 39 in April to 72 in May. Moving right along to Penetanguishene. So last month saw an increase in the average sale price, going from $577 in April to $671 in May. Now, Penetang usually has a fairly small sample size, so the number of sales is low. So your average sale price really depends on what is selling that month. So if we look at the number of sales, we go from 14 to 12. Next, we have percentage of original list price. So this has gone up slightly from 97.1 to 97.9. And the number of new listings also shot up here, going from 21 to 35 this month. Moving out to Tiny. So Tiny, once again, usually a smaller number of sales, which can affect our average sale price. So we saw a decrease this month, going from $928 in April to $875 in May. The number of sales did increase, going from 20 to 24. Percentage of original list price dropped slightly from 97.4% to 97%, so pretty insignificant. And the number of new listings also increasing here from 60 to 74. Moving right along to Tay Township. So we saw a decrease in the average sale price here as well, going from $660 in April down to $625 in May. The number of sales here also decreased, going from 22 to 21. So with these smaller sample size, again, it all depends on what houses are selling for your average sale price. To get a better idea of what the market's doing, we have to zoom out and look at Simcoe County as a whole for these areas. The percentage of original list price rose from 96 to 97. Things are being priced fairly appropriately out there. And the number of new listings shot up here as well, going from 37 to 58 last month. Moving right along to Oro-Medonte, we look at the average sale price decrease last month, going from 1.14 in April down to 978 in May. The number of sales also saw a slight decrease, going from 28 to 26. The percentage of original list price dropped slightly from 97.6% to 96.9%, but still fairly close to that 100% mark. And the number of new listings in Oro rose from 55 to 75 in May. Moving along now to Severn. So the average sale price rose drastically in Severn from $741 to $1.12 in May, but here the number of sales is usually quite low as well, so 17 to 23. Severn does have a fair amount of waterfront property, so if waterfront is selling specifically, then that will definitely affect things. In fact, let's take a look here. We're going to look at waterfront specifically in Severn. So we went from 2 sales to 8 sales, and the average sale price with waterfront went from $922 to $1.8. Now, if we look at only non-waterfront in Severn, we can see the average sale price is around the $732 mark last month, and the number of sales here was 15 for both last month and the month before, staying pretty consistent. Percentage of original list price for Severn stayed fairly consistent, going from 98.1 to 97.4. And the number of new listings rose dramatically here as well, going from 46 to 74 in May. Next up, let's take a look at Aurelia. So the average sale price rose here as well, going from $657 in April to $708 in May. Number of sales also saw an increase, going from 42 in April to 60 in May, so giving us a little bit more of a representative generalization for this whole, for Aurelia as a market area. The percentage of original list price rose slightly from 97 to 98.1. We're pretty close to that 100% mark, which is nice to see. And new listings also shot up, going from 52 in April to 110 in May. Next, let's take a look at Barrie. So Barrie's average house price rose in May, yet again, going from $755 to $769. The number of sales here also increased, going from 204 to 236. I feel like a good one to look at here is the average days on market here, which is trending downward. So houses are selling quicker and quicker, which is in due part to the fact that houses are being priced a little bit low, driving multiple offers, and houses are selling that much faster because of that. So in April, average days on market was 21, and that dropped to 18 in May. Looking at percentage of original list price, we're getting close to that 100% mark. If things continue the way they are, I predict we'll probably be above that 100% next month. And the number of new listings also rose significantly, going from 335 to 377 in May. Next, let's take a look at spring water. So the average sale price in spring water decreased slightly, going from 1.14 in April to 1.12 in May. Number of sales also saw a fairly significant dip here, going from 33 to 23 in May. The percentage of original list price slightly lower here. We started at 96.5% in April, and that's dropped to 96 flat in May. And the number of new listings also increased here, going from 58 to 68 last month. Next, let's take a look at Wasaga Beach. So Wasaga Beach saw a slight decrease in their average sale price, going from $716 to $700 in May. But once again, there's a fair amount of waterfront in Wasaga. So if we look at waterfront exclusively, waterfront saw an increase of 721 to 1.18. Now the number of sales is probably quite low, so we went from 3 to 6. Depends entirely on what's selling. And if we look at non-waterfront in Wasaga, the average price $716 down to $659. The number of sales here 52 up to 70. So a little bit more representative. Now if we look at it as a whole, if we look at percentage of list price, we dropped from 95.6% to 95.4%. So no significant change here. Houses are being slightly overlisted in Wasaga, and it seems to be a little bit slower in that market as of right now. Finally, if we look at the number of new listings, this is continuing to increase. So we went from 119 in April all the way up to 138 last month. Let's take a look at Collingwood. So the average sale price rose here as well, going from $814 up to $874. The number of sales in this area also rose from 50 to 63. Percentage of a list price stayed exactly the same at 96.3%, so houses are being priced fairly well in Collingwood. And the number of new listings shot up quite drastically here, going from 109 in April to 158 in May. Finally, let's zoom out and take a look at Simcoe County as a whole to get a better idea of what's going on big picture. Now, there's always intricacies in all these little markets, but let's take a look here at what's going on. So the slightest decrease in the average sale price for May. So we went from $793 in April to $790 in May. If we look at the number of sales, I'm assuming this has increased, and it has. Went from 642 in April to 718 in May. There's a little bit more activity going on out there. As you can see, we're nowhere near the peaks that we were during the pandemic. And I don't think we'll quite get there again, but it's picked up since the lull of where our interest rates peaked and the market kind of bottomed out, if you will. Percentage of original list price. So we were over 100% for the longest time. And then houses started to sell under list price, and we're creeping back up to that 100% mark, which is good to see. It's nice to see houses priced appropriately. The number of new listings here is increasing close to that those pandemic levels. The big problem during the pandemic was a lack of inventory and a lot of demand because interest rates were so low. There's still a fair amount of demand out there, and inventory is creeping back up, which is good to see. It hopefully takes some of the pressure off those buyers, but it is feeling quite competitive out there for buyers. So yeah, this increased from just over 1,100 in April to just over 1,500 in May. So that's been your real estate market update for June of 2023. If you have any specific questions about the real estate market, you can book a call with me directly in the link below in the description. Happy to make time, even if you're not thinking of moving, you just want to chat about what's going on out there. I know people love to talk real estate, and I'm happy to make time to talk with you about real estate. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, and if you really like this video, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around the channel. Well, that's all for me this month. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.